Hello everybody, it's your non-binary pal, Gracious E.V.A. here, and today is a fun video. It is a redraw of one of the first ever Clip Studio paint drawings I made. It is of this one, and you might recognize these old designs as Chris's and Zach's old design. That's right, we're doing yet another Guardian Angels themed video. I thought I would release this after last week's video, talking about the other characters, just because I thought it was fitting. Anyway, let's get started into the explanation of this video. So the first time I made the original drawing, I was doing some experimenting with the program and also some experimenting with drawing itself. I had this theme idea for the two of them to be sitting together in a run-down train subway of sorts, sort of a post-apocalyptic scene. Nothing like would be canon to the actual story, although maybe, I don't know, the afterlife is super liminal, so who knows what's in there. Maybe this is one of the levels, like in the back rooms, to level in the afterlife. But anyway, after playing around with what composition I wanted to do with this one, I decided to go with a very similar composition as I did with the last one, with it being sort of a straight on shot, but with more complex poses for Chris and Zach. And yes, the sketching for the poses took a little bit, but once I sketched everything out, I colored in the sketch for ease. I also used a model slash picture of an actual subway train for a little bit of ease there. I didn't last time, and you can tell I didn't, but this time I did, and I quite like how it looks. I didn't get everything I wanted right in the sketch, so naturally I did all that adjusting in the line art, which I am prone to do. And for the background, I just used the same sketch I already had, but adjusted it to be more clean and stuff, and yeah, used it as a reference for the background, and it was great. For the city in the far back, I actually used one of Clip Studio's assets to make it look more realistic, and I quite like how it looks. I've always struggled a bit with drawing cities, which is ironic because one of my main comics literally takes place in a big city, and you can tell I struggle with cities there, so yeah, these assets help a lot in that regard. In the original drawing, I used a very muted color palette. This was an era when I was using colors that were pretty muted, but even these colors were pretty muted to what I was used to. I think I was taking reference from a bunch of drawings from other artists have made that are like post-apocalyptic vibe, and they tend to all have this very muted color palette. It kind of works, but I wanted to do something a little bit different for this one, so I went with a much brighter sunset color palette theme, and it definitely gives off a very different vibe from the last one, and I quite like it a lot. It's a little more bright, it's a little more cheery. The rendering as a whole took quite a while on this, both for the background and for the characters. I've drawn these two so much already that drawing them themselves is easy, but rendering always tends to take a little bit. With any character I'm doing, well, not really, but it does tend to take quite a bit longer when I'm doing two characters. And with my art processes of late, I've been doing a technique I like to call overpainting, which a lot of other artists will do, where basically you just, well, the way I do it is I color pick and overpaint the area to clean it up a bit, because sometimes, even though I use a whole bunch of layers, my base shading can get a bit messy. So doing this helps a lot with making things look a lot cleaner. And yeah, towards the end too, I even did this with Chris's face. I ended up not quite liking how I drew it, so I adjusted it slightly, and doing the overpainting technique helped a lot with making it look clean. I didn't record that, so you'll see that change in the end. I've been doing that a lot recently. I think I'm struggling a little bit with my artworks, but that's okay. You know what? Maybe I just need to actually start doing that habit that a lot of other artists have advised to do, which is to before finishing your artwork completely, taking a day away from it and then come back to look back at it and see that if there are anything else that you need to fix it or anything that you're not happy with. I tend not to do that, and I just rush right through it. Even though I shouldn't. So yeah, maybe I'll start doing that, and then I can actually record when I do the fixes, and then the video is consistent. That'll be a new thing for me to try this year. For the background, I added a bunch of moss and vines on everything. I tried doing that last time, and it didn't look that great. I didn't quite know what I was doing. But for this one, I had the power of leaf brushes on my side, which I used quite a bit of, and I added them onto like the standing pole thingies in the subway. You know, those ones that you can grab onto, to the chairs, and to the faraway background in the city. And I also made those a much brighter green than the last one, and added some shading on those as well. I always wanted to include some sort of broken glass behind them where the window would have been, and I experimented with how to do that, and in the end I tried using this lasso tool and just created a whole bunch of shapes all around. Well, on one half anyway. I ended up only doing one half of it in that technique, and then copy and pasted it on the other side, because when I tried doing just all different shapes all around, one side ended up having a lot smaller like shards than the other side, so I ended up doing that. And yeah, it looks all right. I think I ended up adjusting some of the pieces just so they look a little more organic, which is funny because it's glass, which isn't technically organic, but you know what I mean. And along with the leaves, I also added some like mossy like texture underneath it, to give it more of a, like, it's moss, right? It grows on everything and kind of stains everything green. So I tried including that before adding the leaves as well, and I think it makes it blend in more. And yeah, towards the end, I was experimenting with all the colors, of course, with correction layers. Lately, what I've been trying to do, when I noticed in my Speedpaint footage that I did a whole bunch of color correcting, experimenting, I will try my best to cut that. The reason why is because if I play it just the way it is, it's way too like epileptic inducing. It's too much. So yeah, I tried to cut that so that doesn't happen. And yeah, and I deeply apologize if I missed that before in the past. Please let me know if there are any videos where I have missed that in the past, and I think I can edit them in the YouTube editor. If not, I will try to add a warning instead so that everyone knows. But yeah, something I've been trying to do, and if you notice there's like a jump cut between like one stage of the drawing and the next, then that's why. As well as experimenting with the colors in the usual way, I also tried experimenting with the color of the leaves. The color scheme, I wanted to try to make it like match with the two characters, Zach and Chris. And on one side of the leaves, I experimented with keeping it green, like Zach's eyes. And then the other side, I experimented with them being pink, like Chris's eyes. But I decided that the pink leaves just blended too much with everything else. So I kept them as is. And it kind of works as is, I think. It gives, like, you know, there's a whole bunch of pink and yellows, like with Chris, but then you have the pops of green to match with Zach's eyes. So yeah, it still draws your eyes nicely, I think. And then finally, I wanted to add one last thing. I wasn't sure what, so I added just these like swirl things and that are like facing towards the two characters. I think they're okay. Maybe could have made them like a little bit more subtle, or maybe I could have not been super lazy and actually drew their wings instead, but I didn't. So yeah, I think they're all right. They're supposed to be in the shape of heart. It's supposed to be in the shape of a heart, but I think they ended up looking a bit more just like a circle, but that's okay. I think it still works. this Speedpaint. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, this one was really fun to work on because it was a complete redraw of a drawing that I did a long time ago. One of the first ones I did for Clip Studio Paint. Actually, now I think about it, it might have been like the actual first like full illustration I did, because I remember actually doing the sketch in the previous program I was working on first, because I wasn't used to sketching in Clip Studio yet, but everything else was okay. So yeah, it's always fun to redraw an older artwork and see if I've progressed. And in this case, see how the characters have progressed as well. And I've talked extendedly, I've talked a lot about Zach and Chris before. You can go watch their videos on my channel. I have a whole playlist of videos all about my OCs. And yeah, if you want to, you can subscribe for more videos. You can follow my Patreon if you want to see some exclusive and early content. Thank you to Gibbous Rat for supporting me there. And thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.